Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. So today let's go over the YieldMax ETFs, like the earnings dates, IVR, and implied volatility for like the underlying stocks. So give me 1 second here. So let me just pop open this. And so which of the YieldMax products could like potentially have like good earnings dates, and which ETFs could make more money in the short term? So so far like the 2024, like the first quarter for like these YieldMax products, like the underlying stocks, like the earnings season has been okay so far, I would say. So let's dig into like the numbers a little bit. So let's go to like the spreadsheet. Okay, hopefully that comes up. So I'm gonna pause this for a little bit and then like kind of go over maybe some of the interesting things that I'm noticing. So this way you can kind of jot down like which of the implied volatility is more interesting to you, and then also as a comparative like the historical volatility, and then like if you also want to look at like the earnings dates, I've kind of put this in a list for you guys as well. So one of the first things to notice is that AI is still pretty high at 104%. um, by the time this video comes out, like maybe like it might be actually competing against like the AI earnings dates as well. So like by the time this video comes out, the they're hopefully like their earnings release will be out, and then you can kind of like go over it yourself and see how it did. Let's see what else looks interesting here. So Coinbase obviously has been performing fairly well, and just because like the crypto surge, so pretty it's been a pretty nice holding for some people. I wish CONY itself. I guess because people are piling in, so sometimes like I guess like the yield won't be as high as some people expect, but hopefully people will naturally, hopefully like kind of like diversify a little bit. And then obviously Moderna has been doing fairly well even after like the earnings dates has passed. Like their implied volatility has been pretty decent as well. And just as a reminder, the ones in yellow are like the yield max products that that have been filed for with the SEC, but they haven't been released yet. And then ones in red are also like they're either like they're ETF like a broad-based products, and some of these haven't been released either. So for example, GDX and KWeb haven't been released yet by YieldMax. I'm just using these as kind of like a placeholder, and it's also interesting to see like how they could have performed if they were released in the wild. And let me scroll down a little bit from so you can see like the Microsoft to ExxonMobil. So obviously, MicroStrategy has been on a tear, and I'm really glad YieldMax like released this recently, just so folks have a chance to participate. Just because, like, at 800 over $800, it's gonna be really tough for some people to sell like cover calls just by themselves. Like this would hog up like $87,000 of buying power. And the same thing with Netflix. I'm glad like there's there's like a product out there for people so that they can kind of diversify a little bit too. Same thing with NVIDIA. Although like the implied volatility, I'm surprised it's kind of not as high as I would have expected, but I mean it's still pretty decent. Let's see the other ones. Like I guess hopefully in the future they'll release maybe like Roku or Snow, but who knows like when those will be released. Uh, Anything else that's interesting? So I think like Tesla, like the implied volatility has been pretty decent lately, and hopefully Tesla will push back above like the $200 price level, because like right now it's one of the products that's really been suffering. So hopefully in I guess like April 17th or like leading up into that date, like the implied volatility will kind of like pump up, and hopefully they'll release like a good earnings report. So let's just go back into the slide deck. So just like like some of the sample underlines, I'm just taking like the top five. Like so for example, Coinbase did fairly well in the last like earnings date. So and then like look, you'll see like after like the earnings date, like the implied volatility dipped below like its historical volatility. So even though like the implied volatility overall, it's still fairly elevated. It could be so much better. So I guess like in a way, like in future months, like don't be surprised if like the yield on CONY dips a little bit. So AI. So I guess like by the time hopefully like this video comes out, like you'll see like the implied volatility shoot back up against like the no, I'm sorry, like I'm looking at the wrong thing. The implied volatility is above like the historical volatility, so that's always a good sign. So, but then like after the earnings date, you'll probably see like it kind of like dip below again. So hopefully for people that are in AIYY, they'll get like a nice juicy option premium for this month. And of course, like MicroStrategy. I mean, wow. I mean, just look at like the implied and like the historical volatility over here. Like it's still pretty elevated, and I expect this to like I guess like for this earnings report, it could be like really good, just because like they're also heading into like the Bitcoin halving. So like it'll be released on April 29th, hopefully, for MicroStrategy, so we can in that like for like the maybe like the next 2 months for like the distribution. I expect this to be really good. But of course, like guys, like don't pile into it, otherwise like you're wind up like diluting yourself. So hopefully people are kind of I guess like averaging in like over time. And then like for AMD is also even though like the earnings date has already passed, like the implied volatility has been pretty decent. So and they also like beat on earnings as well. And then Moderna and like the last earnings date, like they just like beat like the Wall Street expectations in terms of earnings, and then also like after like the earnings date, you see like the implied volatility like dip down. So even though like Moderna right now has like a pretty decent distribution yield, don't be surprised again like this month if it takes a little bit of a dip. And then this is another way to kind of look at like the relationship of like implied volatility. So TSLY has like this nice filter where you can see like the difference between implied volatility and historical volatility. And this is like another way to kind of look at things. So as you can see, like AI has a nice like differential at 19.8, and then everybody else kind of like drops down significantly. Like and again, like just ignore KWeb and GDX for now until like those products are released, and everybody else is kind of like barely above like their historical volatility. So I guess it's like things are kind of like back to normal like after the earnings season. And another way to look at things is like an implied volatility rank. So it shows like the implied volatility against its 52-week high and low. Again, ignore things like XBI and GDX and KWeb because like those products haven't been released yet. And according to like the TSLY research, they like implied volatility ranks that are over 30. So like for example, Google just like barely made the cutoff above 30. And then all of these, like if you decide to maybe see which YieldMax ETF might be for you, if you like the concept of implied volatility rank, these are the ones that maybe might be worth like looking into. And so like just again, I'm just taking like the five most highest at the time of this recording. So AMD, like the IVR, it's kind of like in the middle of like its of its range, and it makes sense because like after earnings season, like I guess like this is kind of like their normal range. Same thing with the dirty, although this one was pretty dramatic after the earnings date, like the implied volatility kind of like just like drops back down, and now it's like, kind of back up in like the middle of its range. So plenty of action in Moderna, and and I'm kind of surprised that like the Coinbase, I expected like the IVR to be a lot more volatile. Although I guess the earnings season that helped, but now it's kind of like still like stuck kind of in the middle-ish over here. And then next thing with NVIDIA, as you can expect, I mean, wow, this is just like been a pretty crazy year for NVIDIA. And again, like after the earnings release date, like then you see like the implied volatility kind of shrivel a little bit, which is which is kind of normal after earnings season. And then same thing with Google. Although I had to use like the Goog as a kind of like a surrogate. For some reason, when I was doing this, like the Tastyworks, like the Goog L, uh, wasn't popping up correctly. So I just had to use like just regular Goog.IVR to kind of show you what the implied volatility rank looks like. And again, it's sort of kind of in the middle. So I guess like the thing with like these YieldMax products, the expense ratios, I'm hoping that in the future, when more competition comes out, like they'll consider like maybe waiving some of the fees temporarily. Of course, like there's no control over any the option strike selection, and implied volatility could collapse, especially after earnings season. So it's always important to kind of like do your homework and monitor like the implied volatility over time. Of course, like the prices can get cheaper, and of course, like the yields won't be consistent from month to month. If you like this type of content, please consider giving us a like. If you could just subscribe to help the channel stay stay alive, I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you for watching. And I hope you people make some good money out there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.